of you are, that these jobs not simply go to high-skilled people who are already professionals or to white male construction workers?
All right, that's Robert Reich, the former Clinton economic advisor, suggesting stimulus go to minorities and unskilled workers only. Michelle Malkin uncovering this. What do you make of this, Michelle?
Well, I'm not surprised that these radically liberal officials and advisors for Team Obama see the stimulus bill as a goodie bag for all of their ideological pet projects. And this amounts to what he has expressed here in House testimony before Charlie Rangel a couple of weeks ago, are basically government racial preferences, color-coded earmarks built into the stimulus bill. It's flabbergasting to me, Neil, that we haven't heard more about this, and
but
I'm so glad that you've shown that.
Is it built into the stimulus bill? In other words, is there a proviso that says the emphasis on hiring for these jobs, whether they're doing work on bridges or paving highways, you know, all of this stuff that is going to be part of this infrastructure part of it, the emphasis should be on minorities?
Well, of course, what wasn't mentioned at this hearing that Rangel held a couple of weeks ago is that there are already plenty of racial preferences built into federal construction contracts. I mean, that has been the MO in these contracts for the last 30 or 40 years. Women and minority business enterprises get, 10, 12% of these contracts already. And what Charlie Rangel and Robert Reich were talking about in this exchange from a couple of weeks ago, and I highly recommend that everybody watch the entire clip, was creating new quote-unquote criteria that do not say explicitly, but of course everybody knows what it means. White male construction workers need not apply for this stimulus money.
All right, but it also comes at a time where we're genuinely asking questions, aren't we, Michelle, that I'm thinking of those Microsoft workers who've just been laid off. First time the company's ever done that, 5,000 plus. I'm thinking of I think it was 6,000 at Intel. And are they going to be just able to move over to paving roads or painting bridges? Very likely not. So what are we doing here?
Yeah, that's a good question, and it's too bad that there wasn't a Republican on that committee a couple of weeks ago that could have grilled Robert Reich on exactly that question, because we're focusing now on the racial aspect, but he also emphasized, not only in that testimony, but on his own personal blog, Robert Reich's blog, that he doesn't want skilled workers to get the stimulus money either. And then I think the second piece of this, Neil, is you have to tie this into the Congressional Budget Office report from last week, which pointed out that a large portion of the money that they're going to apparently be spending on construction funds isn't going to get into the economy.
That's right.
Yeah. So by the time we're over this recession, that's when this money is going to come out, and it's not going to be going to people who actually know how to build roads and bridges. It's going to be going to Rangel's pet constituents.
You know what worries me? I'll always hear, and I certainly hear it, Michelle, from people who go back to me and say, well, Neil, you're just being an obstructionist. You're not giving the new guy his due. I'm certainly hoping the new guy is a success. But just because he proposes something doesn't mean everyone follows him off a bridge. And for his own betterment, to say nothing of ours, we have an obligation to say, look, if you're going off a bridge, we don't want to follow. And I think questions like these that could genuinely be asked of $1 trillion being spent, money we don't have, are questions that should be asked.
I agree with you, and I think that acting like a lemming in Washington is not a demonstration of leadership. And if you want to call that obstructionism, fine. Let's do our own redefining. Obstructionism is the new responsibility, and we need more people like that in Washington to stand in the way and say, what the hell are you doing? Are you crazy? I've said before that this stimulus amounts to generational theft. And I think that is the definition of leadership in Washington, is standing up and making sure that this money is not going to be stolen from the pockets of our children and our grandchildren.
We were jumping ugly on Republicans when they were signing onto checks. They didn't have any idea where they're going, and now to Democrats and Republicans again who could be doing it again. Michelle Malkin, very, very interesting revelation. We're on it. Thank you very much.